Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for waiting. We'd like to start closing session. As a sum up of the discussion at ISAP, we'd like to have closing discussion at this time. Let us introduce the speakers for the closing discussion. From Korean Environmental Institute, President Byun-wook Lee. And from UNEP Regional Office for Asia and the Pacific, Dr. Harvey Zahid, and Mr. Ella Antonio, President of Earth Council Asia Pacific, Inc. And Dr. Kentaro Tamura, the leader at Climate Energy Area of IGES, and Dr. Eric Zuzman, leader of Integrated Policies of Sustainable Societies Area, IGES. And the moderator for this discussion will be done by Dr. Hideyuki Mori, President of IGES. Dr. Mori, please. Thank you.
Having participated various sessions of ISAP, starting from tomorrow and today. And now we are in the closing session, and we'd like to receive some observations from three experts in front of us. And after the observations made by three experts, two senior staff members of IGES are going to make or announce new initiatives, taking into account some observations made by the three panelists here. And ISAP is our regular event. And every year we try to improve this ISAP. And this year, personally, I think there has been some great improvement over the last year. But we are very happy to receive very frank observations from three panelists in this session first. So may I request Dr. Lee, President of Korean Environmental Institute first, your observations of this event and some points for further improvement. Yes, please, whichever. Yeah, perhaps I'll go over there.
I'm Byung-wook Lee from Korea Environment Institute. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the end of the 2 days conference. Mori-san said, say something about observation from me, but I don't have enough idea on that. Just some short message from my point of view. As a very delighted and enlightened participant of 2014 ISAP, I would first like to congratulate IGES. Thanks, Chairman Professor Hamanaka and President Mori, the insightful leaders for hosting this extremely successful forum. I'm sure the vast majority of you are going to leave this event as fulfilled as me, being able to share knowledge and passion for more environmentally balanced futures. I was particularly impressed with the many future-oriented discussions on the Sustainable Development Goals and various dimensions of policy drive associated with SDG. Korean government has been eagerly participating in the target building process of the working group meetings, and also in the financing committee of SDGs. Korea Environmental Institute is one of the key contributors of the Korean chapter of the the United Nations Sustainable Development Solution Network, SDSN Korea, working on the development of the thematic and cross-cutting targets and indicators for the nations. Also, in KI, as well as across all sectors in Korea, not just green, but green creative economy is being actively discussed within the post-2015 development agenda. green creative economy finds its foundation from creative economy and share its vision with green economy. Green creative economy promotes green growth with innovation. Green creative economy promotes, again, green growth with innovation. It nurtures enterprising and creative minds that emerge interestingly by embracing the seeming conflict between sustainability and development. There are several key areas that we need to work on in order to build a sound platform for green creative economy, including green technology, climate change adaptation, water rights, and social infrastructure, strategic carbon management, sustainable consumption, open data, and information-based policies, majority of which have been discussed during this forum as derivatives of SDG. Well, I actually feel like that I can speak hours on end on this subject, but I will stop at this point, leaving some room for next year's ISAP forum. Again, I was very pleased to be part of this forum and also to be able to speak here in Yokohama. Thank you very much. I wish everyone a safe trip back home. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Korean Environment Institute is a kind of a sister institute for IGES in Korea. If we say sisters, which one is elder or which one is bigger? KI is bigger, so they are our elder sister. And IGES is perhaps younger sister. But because of this, we have concluded or renewed MOU today. So we are very much looking forward to further collaboration with KI. Thank you very much, Dr. Lee, for your kind remarks and observations. Now, let me ask Mr. Kabe Zahidi, the director, regional director and representative of UNEP, regional office for Asia and Pacific. So, Kabe, please.
Thank you very much, Mori-san. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Professor Hamanaka. Once again, Mori-san, you've set an impossible task. You whispered as I walked onto the stage, what we would like from you is a frank assessment of what was good in ISAP and what was not good at ISAP. And that would, of course, make me a terrible guest to come up here and make any such statement. But luckily, there wasn't much that I could say in terms of what wasn't good. So let me focus on some of the things that impressed me and I think are an excellent part of this, now the 6th year of this process. I congratulate you and all of the colleagues on putting together an event that covered such an extraordinary breadth of subjects. We had sessions that covered so many issues, big issues like the Sustainable Development Goals, more practical ones that our communities are struggling to understand, test out, work with, spread throughout the world. I think that what I do take away is that the breadth of subjects had a number of things in common, and for me, 2 stand out. One is we are addressing, and you were addressing through ISAP 2014, some of the most serious challenges of our time. We're not talking of trivial issues, we're talking about extraordinary issues. And the second thing is that I was heartened in the sessions that I participated in the panels that I was lucky enough to sit on, to see that even though we are covering a broad range of subjects, some of the most difficult subjects of our time, we are not losing the link to why we are doing it, why we are here, the human element. Because ultimately what we are doing, all of these initiatives are about improving the lives of people. And I saw that reflected in many of the discussions, linking it back to the real world, as someone said in an earlier panel. The second thing to note is ISAP is clearly an important testing ground, a testing ground for ideas that could become tools in many fields. Here, of course, there was a focus on some of the tools that could be picked up in the SDGs as the SDG process solidifies and as we turn towards the implementation of the SDGs. And I think that element of a testing ground of ISAP is a unique one that we should maintain. And the third thing, if I could point out, is that in a lot of the conversations that I was involved in, there was, of course, a good background in the science. And of course, you see the posters, and I hope we all voted for them. I have my favorite ones. I hope they win. But aside from that, we saw that there is this attempt to bring the science policy linkage, the science policy interface. This was a strong message from Rio+20 when heads of state adopted a document which emphasized the need for not only science, but science policy. What are these things mean in a policy context, in the real world again? And I saw that reflected, and it's something that I hope continues. And let me finish by saying another wonderful thing about ISAP2014, and another great thing about next year, is that we find ourselves in an extraordinary point in time. This year, we have the Sustainable Development Goals, the roadmap of the future, a universal agenda for developed and developing countries, and to be able to position our thinking to contribute to that is really one of the achievements of ISAP. But it's not the end, because we're moving now into the Secretary General's Climate Change Summit in September, the Climate Change COP, and then 2015, the adoption of the SDGs, and hopefully a future climate agreement. So the relevance of meetings like this, where we bring together practitioners and we try to make that science policy linkage and provide the tools for taking the global agendas and making them practical and applicable and supporting countries to apply them is a role that I think that ISAP has managed to find for itself and that we fully support. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your very kind observations and all encouraging ones. And UNEP is or has been very important partner for IGES, and therefore every year we have ISAP. We have a good number of people from UNEP, from different offices of UNEP. And we had a kind of discussion bilaterally with UNEP, and both sides were a bit surprised to have seen expanding number of joint project activities, UNEP and IGES. So this is a very healthy, welcome development. And on that basis, we'd like to further strengthen collaboration with UNEP. Thank you very much, Kabe, for your kind observations. And now I'd like to invite Ms. Ella Antonio, the President of Earth Council. She has been associated with IDES for so many years, a long time friend myself. And in a sense, she is representing CSO organizations. You know, IGES, ISAP is a little bit weak with this linkage with NGOs and civil society. But she and other colleagues in Southeast Asia and South Asia have been our good partners in this in that respect. So, Ella,
thank you. Thank you, Morrison. Good afternoon, everyone. It's tough. The questions posed to us are really tough. It made tougher by the fact that Mr. Zahedi said most of the things I wanted to say. But let me just say that indeed there's so much good things that can be said about ISAP. First of all, I have attended 3 out of 6 sessions or forums of ISAP. That's 50%. So somehow I have an understanding or an impression of how it evolved from 6 years ago. Before it was too technical, too academic, too conceptual, too abstract, maybe not too, but somehow abstract and somehow conceptual. But now it has moved towards, practical application of concepts, getting into local and grassroots experiences and good practices. And I think that alone is really very important in the sense that we are able, or ISAP is able to translate, abstract things into more concrete actions and concrete and practical actions. And the other thing that I noticed this year, I was not here in the last 2 years, I was here in 2011, is the participation of the youth. The participation or the showcasing of the work of young researchers. I think that's really very important because people like us, like you have been in this business for so long, maybe we have run out of good ideas. We really need the young people to tell us more good ideas. So I think because, if only for that, I would like to really congratulate ISAP and IGES and UNU and all those who participated or sponsored or organized this ISAP. I think it continues to be a very important and useful forum because particularly at this time, already mentioned that we have this SDG and we have the issues of climate change, among other things. But the second question was, what is an improvement area? Like I said, it's a tough question. So maybe I have 2 suggestions. Maybe this is really nitpicking, but just to be able to say something. But the first thing is, I think there's a need for more participation of grassroots people, local people, indigenous people. Already yesterday, it was mentioned in some of the sessions that I attended, there was emphasis on the need to understand and learn from the local knowledge and indigenous knowledge, because indeed we can learn a lot from those. This ISAP can serve as a platform for participation of these local people, but at the same time, it can also serve as a platform for people like us, academicians or NGO, to learn more about what local people have in their minds and what they can contribute in the discourses, especially in the discourse of sustainable development goals. The second suggestion I would make is really something to do with addressing the language barrier. I'm not talking about the language in our countries. It's the language of academicians, language of researchers, language of NGO, language of UN. I realized, or in fact, I've been realizing this, and you probably have noticed this, that there are different interpretations of, let's say, governance. What is governance? What is means of implementation? And the many terms that came out since yesterday, what is your understanding may be different from my understanding. So I was thinking maybe there's a need for a glossary of terms. A glossary of terms that can be defined technically, but at the same time can be described indigenously, can be described locally. In short, maybe there could be some kind of a glossary of terms wherein indigenous people, local people, community people can help develop. And probably in the next ISAP, this can serve as some kind of a reference material, so that every time we talk about something, we talk about, let's say, governance or climate or resilience, resilient city, what does it mean? We understand, we have a common language. I think a common language is really very important in understanding what we are trying to convey and in pushing forward the agenda that we have set out for ourselves. Thank you very much for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to express somehow some suggestions. And I hope that 50% of my attendance, I say 50%, can become higher in percentage. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ella, for your very interesting observations. And I really concur with you, the need for more participation, in particular from grassroots organizations. And also the language barrier. That's why we are organizing this one. And if this forum helps address that issue, very, very much, we very much appreciate that. We continue our efforts. Now is the time for IGES side to respond to these observations, the points made by the 3 speakers. As a matter of fact, IGS has started two important initiatives now, looking at towards the end of next year. Two initiatives. One is on sustainable development goals, and the sustainable development goals, for which we had a couple of sessions in this ISAP, and we have now set up IGS flagship initiative on that issue. And the second one is, of course, climate change issue. And next year at COP21, towards the end of next year, a new climate regime will be discussed and agreed. And therefore, having these two important issues in mind, we have set up our flagship initiatives. And therefore, representing these two initiatives, we have Dr. Eric Dassman and Dr. Kentaro Tamura here. So now I'd like to ask first Eric to speak about our new initiative, taking into account some of the points made by these three previous speakers. So Eric, please. He's going to talk on SDGs.
So thank you very much, Mori-san, and thank you very much, Dr. Lee and Kaveh and Ella. And as Mori-san mentioned, I am the area leader of a project called Integrated Policies for Sustainable Societies. Under that project, we are doing work on the Sustainable Development Goals, and we've already started and moving through the next year. We are working on a flagship project on means of implementing the Sustainable Development Goals. For those of us who have not followed the process, this means of implementation, or what they call MOI, will be absolutely critical to making sure some of the goals and high-level principles that are being expounded within the UN negotiations are actually translated into practical actions on the ground. And when we talk about means of implementation, for some people, one of the key means is obviously financial support. For some other people, it's technology. But the thing that we're most interested in, and its close relationship to governance, is what we would call institutions. And we feel that this institutions are going to be absolutely critical, not just in general, but in specific sectors that will be addressed by the Sustainable Development Goals. These will range from water to education to sustainable consumption, production, all the way to climate change, for instance. And so what we hope to produce over the next year is a series of issue briefs which highlight what we think are the necessary institutional arrangements under this idea of means of implementation for taking the goals and actually implementing them on the ground. I think this idea dovetails very nicely with some of the points that Ella raised, especially when we talk about trying to translate some of these abstract concepts into things that communities can actually understand. And I think it also dovetails very nicely with some of the points that Dr. Lee and Kaveh raised when they highlighted the importance of this year 2015 that we're moving up to. And they noted the fact that, 2015 is going to be sort of a milestone. This is sort of the beginning of a turning point, hopefully. And we think that our flagship initiative on the means of implementation, with a special focus on the institutional elements and their applications in key sectors, will hopefully carry forward the SDGs beyond 2015 all the way up to 2030. And hopefully for future generations. So with that, I'm happy to report that we're moving forward with the initiative and look forward to bringing some of the results to you next year at the 7th ISAP in 2015.
Okay, thank you very much, Eric. Okay. So that was on this SDG side. And next, may I ask Tamura-san to speak on this new initiative on climate side?
Thank you very much, Mori-san. My name is Kentaro Tamura from the Climate and Energy area. And thank you very much for the comment from the Dr. Lee and Kaveh and Era. As Morrison mentioned, we just launched a new flagship project on the climate change, which aim at providing some policy recommendation to the current negotiation over the post-2020 agreement, which will be scheduled to be made deal at COP21. And also, we are, in addition to that, we also are aiming to make some practical policy recommendation to so-called pre-2020 mitigation actions through various providing means of implementation and also some policy discussion on that. And actually, thank you very much for some comments from your observation or some suggestions for improvement of this ISAP as well as our research activities. And one of the basic approach of this flagship project is how to enhance the science and policy interface, which just stressed by the Kaveh. For example, we are now developing some proposal to make the current scientific knowledge on the emission pathway, the emission modeling, to assess the proposed, nationally determined contributions. So, as you know, that currently the parties are invited to propose their own nationally determined contributions, but it's also likely that the aggregation of this contribution is possibly less than that scientific are required. So we are now proposing to kind of institutional process where this modeling energy emission modeling results can be utilized to assess this each country's nationally determined contributions. So this is the one approach to this flagship project. And also, regarding some linkage between climate change and sustainable development, which are stressed by many, some of these commentators. And one of interesting observation I got from this the session where I was in charge is a session on the MRV. Measurement and verification and measurement and reporting and verification. And then that session put focus on some current initiative of Indonesia. And we just find that Indonesia have engaged in the establishment of the domestic MRV system. This is very much encouraging because sometimes this MRV is seen as kind of the very costly initiative and something imposed by international negotiation. But now what we learned from Indonesian colleagues that the current Indonesian government is very keen on developing the domestic MRV system. One of the reasons for this is they recognize the kind of multi benefit of MRV that means not only GHG reduction control, but also some improved implementation of the sustainable development policies. So this recognition of the multi-purpose or multi-benefit of MRV is one of the reasons to encouraging the developing countries to develop their own domestic MRV system. So this is another another area we would try to address. And finally, I just touch upon some language barriers which addressed by the ERA, pointed by ERA. Yes, and yesterday, we announced the launching of a so-called low-carbon Navigator, which, calculate your future choice on various sectors on your 2015 emission pathway. So this is very easy interface. So if you go that outside, you can easily enjoy this low carbon Navigator. And one of this purpose, or the key feature of this low carbon Navigator is provide kind of common platform for different stakeholders. In Japan, when we discussed the 2020 mitigation target a couple of years ago, different stakeholders were invited to this policy-making process, but different policymakers and the stakeholders discuss each other with different assumptions, different perspectives, and this is not easy to communicate each other. But this Navigator provides some common platform where different the stakeholder can discuss on the common ground. So this is another point. Help us to conduct this new flagship project on the climate change. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now we have had very good responses from these two leading researchers of IGES. And therefore, I'm quite sure that they are coming back to the next year's ISAP with very encouraging or interesting results. I think that will make next year's event even more interesting and fascinating. So we'd like to expect your returns to this session next year. So with this, we would like to conclude the first half of this closing session. Thank you very much, and give them all the panelists very big hand. Thank you very much.
森所長、スピーカーの皆様、
President Mori and speakers, thank you very much for your contribution. We'd like to move to the post-session award ceremony for young researchers, and we'd like to arrange the stage for the award ceremony. So please bear with us for a few more moments. Thank you.
それでは
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready with the stage, so I'd like to start the award ceremony for poster session. Based on the votes from the participants, including speakers, we have chosen top 2 posters, and those posters will be recognized as gold and silver awards. And we'd like to invite 8 students who participated in poster session to come up on the stage. When your names are called, please come up on the stage. From Yokohama National University, Mr. Mohammed Saiful Islam. From Yokohama National University, Mr. Mohammed Raks Suzman. United Nations University, Rama Krishna Reddy Kumita. United Nations University, Mahendra Sethi. IJES, Divya Solomon. IJES, Brian Johnson. Keio University, Rina Nurhayati. Keio University, Eki Ianita Ristanti. And the former chair of the board of IJES, Dr. Akio Morishima, the chair of the selection committee, will make some observations on the poster session.
Very much honored to be the chief of examiner of it's a student poster session, but actually the researcher are included, not only the student. And actually, yesterday I spent 1 hour and 30 minutes to looked and read the poster, 8 posters. And since it is a researchers and student poster, so I set some kind of criteria how I can look at the posters. Since this is research or the student, the study result poster. So the poster should communicate or deliver or explain the briefly and hopefully the in a visual manner with in a visual manner to the result of the research or the study. And that means what is the subject of study or research, and what are the findings, and the very informative, what is the information which you want to give the readers or watcher of the, and then secondary, since this is a poster, so you must show it in a very attractive manners, with the pictures or graphs, very attractive way. And in that sense, I found out the student, showing way is more attractive than the researchers. Researchers try to describe everything with the letters. And the secondary, the research and or the study. Since this is the poster, you cannot explain everything within a short space of poster. But some of the poster try to explain everything in a very short. So for old people like me, cannot read because it's very fine letters. So, so in that case, just point out what are the points of what is the purpose of the study, what are the methodology, and what are the findings in a very short, not the descriptive ways, and then refer to your articles. That could be my point. And then I looked at, and then I found out it depends on which criteria I put more emphasis. Then one poster is much better than the others. But so from now on, you will get gold award or silver award. And today's award are given on the basis of the vote by the people today. So I'm not responsible for the selection. I had a different, yes, I have a different result. So don't blame me. But in any case, if you try to make a poster next year, please consider the point or factors I considered. Probably the same thing that the other people do the same thing. And be attractive. What kind of information you want to provide to the readers or the audience. And later, Dr. Hassan will announce the result. So in any case, it depends on the criteria. So I congratulate all of you. You can get the award. May not be the gold or silver, but all of you are successful on the basis of the different criteria. But you cannot get the award on the basis of a different criteria. So whatever the result, congratulations first. Thank you very much.
森島先生、どうもありがとうございました。
Thank you very much, Dr. Morishima. We'd like to award the certificate of participation to the students who participated. And Rina Nurhati, on behalf of the students, are invited to come up on the stage.
I'll give the certificate, all of you, the certificate of appreciation. Yes, are you Rina? Okay. ISAP 2014 poster session for young researchers, certificate of appreciation, presented to Rina Narhasati. I hope the pronunciation is not bad. With sincere thanks for your participation and outstanding contribution to the ISAP 2014 poster session for young researchers. Date 24th July 2014. The IGES and UNU IAS.
Thank you very much, Dr. Morishima. We'd like to move to the announcement of gold and silver awards for poster session. And one of the selection panel members, Mr. Hassan, will be announcing the awards. Mr. Hassan, please come to the center of the stage.
Good afternoon. Let me clarify, I also was not a judge I'm just a presenter. But you know, when you are honoring students on a student poster session, I want you to know that the organizers thought of me as the youngest amongst them to give this award to you. So it's my pleasure, and this is the suspense of the Hollywood Oscar Awards. It's my pleasure to announce the Silver Award in the student poster session in ISAP 2014, awarded to, I'll first give the poster title, then the university, and then the awardee. The poster title is, for the Silver Award, Concentration of Heavy Metals in Water, Sediment, and Some Commercial Fish Species in the Coastal Areas, Bangladesh, and the Health Risk Assessment. The university that gets this prize is the Yokohama National University, and the awardee is Muhammad Raknuzuman. And now the Gold Award for the Student Poster Session ISAP 2014. The poster title is The Trace Metals Contamination in Soil and Foodstuffs Around the Industrial Area of Dhaka City, Bangladesh, and Health Risk Assessment. The university is the Yokohama National University, and the awardee is Muhammad Saiful Islam. Congratulations. Thank you.
どうもあり
Thank you very much. With that, we'd like to conclude the award ceremony for poster session. We'd like to thank Dr. Mori and Mr. Hassan and all the students who participated.
Now, in closing the ISAP, on behalf of the organizer, Professor Hamanaka, Chair of the Board of Directors of IGES, will deliver the closing remark. Chairman Hamanaka, please. Ladies and gentlemen, well, there was a closing discussion earlier and the award ceremony for the poster session, and we have come to the end of the 6th International Forum for Sustainable Asia and the Pacific, ISAP 2014. We were able to complete all the sessions over the past 2 days. I thank you for your cooperation and active participation on behalf of the organizer. I extend to you my heartfelt gratitude. Now, today or this year's theme at the ISAP was bringing regional voices to the post-2015 development agenda, solutions for low-carbon, resilient, and inclusive Asia and the Pacific. And there were 16 sessions in total, including 2 plenaries and 2 lunch sessions. And over the course of 2 days, including the speakers, total of 670 people participated, and we had a very active and a very meaningful debate. Now, next year in 2015, at the UN, the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, are going to be agreed upon, and the international framework for climate change for 2020 onwards is going to try to get an agreement at the COP20 of the UNFCCC. So there's negotiations going on for that. And in each of the sessions of ISAP 2014, we discussed the various issues with those important international milestones in mind. And so we talked about the international agreement, what should be in it, and the post-2015 actions necessary to construct the sustainable society. To give you one example, well, there's the threat of climate change, and the social and economic development has to change drastically. And there are three aspects of development: social, economic, and environment. And it was pointed out that those aspects have to be truly integrated. That was mentioned in the sessions. In implementing SDGs effectively, those are going to be quite important points. And for that to happen, the scientists and experts' message have to be conveyed to the policymakers. They have to be communicated accurately to the policymakers, but not only that, they must be communicated to the various stakeholders in the society, and the understanding and support of the stakeholders must be one. And I think that was another point raised in the various sessions. And as was discussed in the closing session that we just had, IJUST has two flagship projects. One is the post-2015 development agenda and SDGs. The other is the climate change international framework for the post-2020. And in this ISAP, you gave us various precious opinions and input into the discussions. And we would like to reflect those into our flagship projects. And we would like to disseminate the diverse and dynamic voices from Asia to the international society. IJUST is aiming to become a change agent that promotes transfer or transition to sustainable society. And we're conducting research on policies to promote change. And we're sharing and discussing the outcomes with a wide range of stakeholders and trying to turn them into action. And this time, for the first time, we did post a presentation of the outcomes that we have had in the past year. And we had the participants vote for these posters. I'd like to share the top 3 posters who won the most votes from the conference attendees. The poster or the research that won the most support was the India Small and Medium Enterprises Applying Japanese Low Carbon Technologies research. So this is IJUST working with Terry of India, and there was a matchmaking between Indian SMEs and Japanese companies, and the selected technologies and the equipment, they're actually applied to the local factories in India. So that was the research. And then second largest number of support was the one titled Community-Based Forest Biomass Monitoring Training of Trainers Manual. So they put together a manual to train the trainers for forest biomass monitoring. So there is deforestation going on, and one effective mechanism to stop that is REDD+, REDD+. That is what is being discussed, and there's a lot of discussion going on about that. And if this kind of a mechanism is achieved, what are the gains to be achieved? Well, for those who make a living from forestry, they have to be treated equitably, and the fruits must be shared fairly amongst them. And from that perspective, this research, I think, attracted a lot of support. The third research is the one titled Kita-Kyushu Urban Center Low Carbon Activities in Asian Cities. In Surabaya of Indonesia and in many other cities in Asia, Kita-Kyushu local government and the companies' experience was provided. And I thank all of the attendees for casting your votes. And I also want to thank you for your warm support and your suggestions. We will take your suggestions seriously, and we're going to promote our R&D activities as change agents so that we may contribute to society. Now, low carbon, resilient, and inclusive society, in order to build that kind of society, You need long-term, sustained effort, and it's an effort that cannot be done just by one country or one organization or one company. Various parties have to exchange views from different perspectives, collaborate, cooperate, and sustain long-term partnerships amongst them. Based on that kind of a view, I just want to continue to strengthen ISAP as a forum to connect diverse stakeholders and strengthen partnerships. I ask you for your continued cooperation and support. Lastly, once again, over the last 2 days, we were able to enjoy very rich discussions, and for that, I thank you dearly. And with that, I'd like to close my remark. And with that, we close ISAP 2014. Thank you so much.
浜中理事長
Thank you very much, Dr. Hamanaka. With that, we'd like to conclude the ISAP 2014, the 6th International Forum for Sustainable Asia and Pacific. We have concluded all the programs scheduled. Thank you very much for participating, despite your busy schedule. Please return the receivers for simultaneous interpretation to the front desk. And please check your pockets and inside the bag whether there is any receiver there. And there's trash bins right next to the escalator, so please use them. And if you have filled out the questionnaire forms, kindly, please submit them to the staff members at the front desk. And please go home without forgetting or leaving anything behind. Thank you.